Target, Home Depot, and Jimmy John's all have in common? Data breach. That's right. And it just seems like it's happening more and more these days. So how are companies protecting themselves, and how are you, the consumer? Andy Chambers is an attorney from Jennings Strouss and Salmon, and you're here with some advice. And it seems like these data breaches are becoming more and more prevalent. What is going on?
You know, I think it's the prevalence of the data breaches was inevitable, and it's a matter of opportunity, profit, and sophistication. Increasingly, we as consumers are putting our personal data out there in all types of online forums. Electronic commerce and transactions are occurring with greater frequency, and there's a huge profit in that opportunity for criminals to steal our account information, our data, and sell that. And undoubtedly, cyber hackers are becoming more sophisticated with greater tools. And so I think we've been in a golden era where we've gotten all the benefits of electronic commerce without the increased costs, and now those costs are starting to come home, and we'll have to deal with that.
Well, and if a company here in Arizona did have a security breach, what do they need to know to protect themselves? What can they look out for?
Well, in the event of a breach, a company needs to know that they have legal obligations in terms of notifying the affected customers or members and taking steps to mitigate the damage to their customers, whether in the form of credit monitoring and things like that. But really what a company needs to do is be proactive to assess what type of data are they compiling, how are they keeping it, what security measures do they have in place, how long are they retaining that data, and to have a plan in place developed with their counsel, legal counsel, and some preferred vendors that can respond quickly in the event of a breach.
It's one thing if your business is just here in Arizona, but if your company, if you had more than one location and they were in other states, and here you're talking the legal angles of what to take, and yet the law is different in other states. How do you protect your company should you have additional locations elsewhere?
Sure, and actually regardless of, well, two scenarios. You have locations in other states, or you have customers in other states. Many, if not most businesses, do business with customers located throughout the country, and you're going to be subject to the jurisdiction of each state. I think 48 states and territories have different or differing notification requirements. You're going to have to comply with each of those, and if you do business overseas, you're going to have to comply with the standards of other countries, which emphasizes the point to be prepared. When a breach, you need to have a plan in place. If you're trying to figure this out after you've detected a breach, it's going to delay the notification and the response.
It just seems like we try to have all our ducks in a row, and yet then those hackers are out there and they're always a step ahead of us. Will we ever be parallel with them, or or ahead of the game to fight against what's happening here? I mean, to arm ourselves,
we're never going to stop breaches, and we're never going to fully mitigate the risk, but we can be prepared. And there are a lot of vendors right here in the Valley that have excellent services to help companies and individuals to be as prepared as possible, and to do so in a cost-effective manner, depending on the size of your business and the resources available to protect yourself.
What about the consumers who are visiting these businesses? I mean, when Target had the data breach, my gosh, last year right before the holiday season, I thought every person I know was doing their holiday shopping at Target at one time or another. How do we protect ourselves? Do we go in and pay cash? Do we?
Cash is best.
Cash is king.
but we're all going to use our credit card. There are some simple things, and we have to use common sense and be smart. It's important to review your credit card statements each month and look for suspicious transactions. And if you see some, to report them to the credit card company. Your credit card is going to be preferred over your debit card. It's going to insulate you some from the potential financial exposure. And there are insurance carriers now that are developing and selling really privacy and identity theft policies that are reasonably priced for consumers. And I think that's probably the ultimate protection.
And I've heard too, if you use your debit card, that you should change your password frequently. Would that help you at all, or just if you can, do you carry cash as the consumer, or the credit card, because
Far
you'll have
preferred.
a little bit of
Yes.
the protection.
Yes.
And for the companies that did have the data breach, how is it affecting their businesses? I mean, like for Jimmy John's, are people like, I'm not going to go to Jimmy John's anymore? Do they get hit with that in addition to the breach?
Certainly, and there are a couple of institutes that have studied the costs of data breaches, and the biggest cost to companies are reputational damage and lost business. So companies need to take this risk very seriously.
And prepare
And
ourselves,
be prepared.
the companies and the consumer, as best that we can.
Right.
Thank you so much, Andy. And if you would like more information, you can always go to jsslaw.com. We'll be right back with more of the Morning Scramble. You know,